Welcome back, guys. Episode today, we're going to be covering, I think, a big topic about CBD. So I put a post on my Instagram that I was trying some out for quite a long time. I wanted to give it a good run to see if I got anything out of it. We're going to talk today about CBD in sport, in general, in everything. Like what's it all about? Is it worth having? It's an expensive product, I think, out there. The better it is, the more money it is. Do you really need it for sport? Do you need it in general? It's a big topic now. I think there's still not enough really sort of evidence on it yet. So you're seeing a lot of companies spur it on and push it out there, and I don't think many people understand why they're taking it or what it's for. So we're going to try and cover over most things with the CBD today. And then obviously talking about how some athletes are banned for marijuana, and we're going to cross that pathway. Like why are they banned?
What's the difference?
When CBD is being pushed so much in sport, when pretty much they do the same thing. But marijuana probably does it a lot better.
Definitely. Yeah, I think kind of
start. What is it? What is CBD? Some people know. Okay, it's very close and linked with marijuana, but what is it?
Well, basically, it's got I can never pronounce the name. It's cannabidiol, CBD, and it's basically it's an extract from cannabis plant. Then you remove
it's a compound.
It's a compound, and you remove basically the cannabis plant. You take away the THC from it, which is the psychoactive, the part that gives you the kind of so-called high. But yeah, it's kind of a hemp-driven product, and it's meant to have the benefits of kind of stuff like reduction of inflammation and reduction of anxiety, as well as like creating calmness and all the benefits that have loosely been linked to the cannabis plant overall. So cannabis has been around, or I think it's been in use since. I think it dates back to like 2600 BC with China, like basically old Chinese medicine.
Well, yeah, we all know most old medicine came from hemp.
Yeah.
It had a very, very beneficial effect. And then I think they learned how to make hemp furniture and so on. And the hemp industry back then was massive.
Yeah.
Huge. And then we come into more times of after, I think, before World War II, we were still looking at quite a big medical industry of hemp. And then obviously through World War II, we changed the medical pretty much. And it became
evolution.
very, all about antibiotics and paracetamol and stuff like that, which
penicillin
changed today. So how we see it. So it's known as a very high impacted medical.
But medicinal marijuana is still used in like many countries for many different ailments. But all they've done with the CBD is take away as I said, the psychoactive
THC
element of it, the THC, and
which I can't pronounce the actual word of what it is.
I don't know, some very long, confusing scientific name. Just call it THC. So they've basically removed that, and I think it was just kind of like from finding out.
So you taking away from that, you take away basically the euphoria and the high of the product, which we know probably has quite a big impact on the product. For most people. So they take that away. So there's no high with CBD, and then we're looking at all the things that it's supposed to help give you. So with all the things listed out there at the moment, it's a lot of anxiety. It's supposed to be inflammation, MS. It's linked to quite a few things. How it's being pushed so much into the sport industry is quite different for me. Like,
I think it's been pushed heavily into the sport industry because it's taken away the psychoactive part of it, so it's seen as ultimately in the eyes of kind of sports bodies as a safer option to use. And as we've known, cannabis has been outlawed in predominantly the world for many years. But actually it's been used for thousands of years before that. So
it's done like a loop round.
Yeah, pretty much. So yes, it's because it's been banned for so many years and it's still banned in a lot of countries. There was still large benefits from it. So clearly someone saw the market in saying like, well, maybe we could take the benefits from this, remove the psychoactive part, sell it off and get it to a point where you can, because the sport industry is a huge market within itself.
Yeah.
So if you can get the benefits from, think about high-end sports people, quite anxiety-driven because you're constantly under pressure. There's lots of inflammation in your sport. You're constantly moving,
And then
constantly working.
insomnia, sleep as well. It's supposed to help for that. So I really think with this product, before we really deep and go into it, it really is a case of you trying it yourself. It really is. It's not a case of going right 100% evidence behind this product. It really is a case of you going right. Yeah, I suffer with sleep. I suffer with anxiety. I'm going to give this a go because it's a more of a natural way of trying to help it out, rather than going to get obviously like sleeping pills or stuff like that, or antidepressants. So it's a more of a calmer way, and for some people it's working, and for some people it's not, and that can be completely dependent down to the product you're buying. Is it a good product? Is it well made? Is it gone off? So there's loads of things to that can make it be like, is it good or is it not? It's just a taste, like with everything now. It's just try it if you like it. I still think there's a lot of placebo's effect with it.
Yeah.
I think if you really want a good product, you really are going to have to pay quite a steep bit of money for a good solid bit of CBD, and I still think that the best CBD oil is the illegal one.
Yeah.
Where you pay a lot of money for a good oil with the THC. So you will look to get the high, but then you will really reap all the benefits of that.
Yeah, I think the main pardon me, the main thing we've spoken about with the supplement series is that they're supplements. They're things to add to your life that you might be lacking, but they shouldn't be the thing that basically you build your kind of life off. In a sense of training, you shouldn't rely on CBD oil to get you to recover before the next day. You should rely on good quality sleep patterns and eating and recovery protocols within your training and outside your training. And this is a supplement. And as you said, yes, some people will have great success with CBD. Some people swear by it, and that's perfectly fine. Some people don't feel like the effects of it, or the effects wear off very quickly. As you said, down to potentially the placebo effect, which in science they are kind of accustomed about, like anywhere from up to 25% down to the placebo effect. So a large portion of it could be placebo. However, as I said, it's down to each individual. Worth trying if you've tried everything else and you've got your kind of lifestyle aligned. If you don't, I'd look at things that don't cost the earth, because CBD is not cheap, and it's kind of the new thing. It's the new thing on the block. Think about, you've been doing it a lot longer. What's been around since you've been training? You've probably had the pickup of like Knockos and BCAAs mixed with caffeine, right?
So
that's a booming industry.
Well, we know the caffeine industry is boom. Like, look at coffee. Look how many coffee shops have opened up now. It's just it's a natural thing. Everyone looks for that pickup, where we know that it can become, a good cup of coffee is a nice thing to do, but once we start swallowing down 6, 7, 8 cups of coffee in the day, we know it becomes, an effect that too much is, and like with everything, too much of something normally becomes not very beneficial for your health. So we look at, with CBD, I don't think there's a case with that. I don't think there's a case of doing too much. I think, from what I've seen, there's not much side effects. I think if you used to probably do an impacted ridiculous amount of CBD, obviously the first thing you'd probably be looking at would get harmed would probably be your liver and so on. But I don't think there's any impact like that. But how it's booming now in the industry and how it's being sold, I do look at we are in a way where saving money is important. And I think what me and Ben are really always preaching on about is that a lot of these problems people have, insomnia and stuff like that, can be attacked naturally just by looking at your natural habitat, routines, things that people just quickly push to the side, and they want that quick fix. They want that, that feeling of the blue pill or the red pill, like which one do I want? And if you keep going down that route, it can be, one, cost effective, two, you could never really see the outcome of fixing it, and then you've got to look at the impact it's having on your body. If you keep chucking things into the body, you can then have that unload of things that aren't good. So we're always trying to look at, have a look at your habitats first. If you look at our previous podcast where we go over routines, sleep, nutrition, a lot of these things can probably be dealt with there. We all know that. I know some people suffer with insomnia and they go, where's it come from? But then we can look at what's disrupted you. Are you a bad sleeper? Is your room got massive lights coming through all night? Simple things like that can start to really have an effect. And then once we're starting to build those routines and then we can start to look at supplements, CBD. We're not here today to absolutely ridicule it, but I've still sit on the fence with it. I've taken it now for over a month, probably going on nearly 2 months. I've got a muscle rub oil, and I've been taking a 2,000 milligram oil at night. The muscle rub oil, I don't feel anything from that at all. It's not made me feel any more comfortable. I've not taken down any inflammation. I've probably felt more of the arnica and the deep heat in the oil more than the CBD. I think that the CBD in that is very, very little. It's not done anything. In my eyes, that's a waste of money. If you've got an ache or a pain, stop trying to rub it out with a quick fix. Get into a routine where we look back at flexibility and mobility. Now, that is probably the long-term way to get rid of aches and pains, clear out joints, make muscles more mobile again, or tendons. I think that is the first fixture you should be looking at before you're looking at any sort of ibuprofen or let me put a muscle rub on.
So short, those are short-term fix.
Fix.
We know that the absorption from skin is hence the reason why you go to the doctors, and now if you really need something bad, they'll inject it intravenously straight to the vein, straight to the bloodstream, if not intramuscular. Actually rubbing something on the skin, yes, it can give you that sense of kind of numbing of pain because your pain receptors are in your skin. But actually, the absorption from the skin, there's so many layers, so many processes.
It's got to go through, yeah.
It's basically,
How much gets through in the end?
Probably not much. I think the biggest thing, as we said, now it's a booming industry with CBD. The only problem is, and a lot of companies have come, or manufacturers have come under a lot of scrutinization from kind of government and other people in terms of the wild claims it has. It's going to be the cure of cancer. It's going to help alleviate any inflammation you've got, or all the anxiety.
Where I first heard about CBD oil way back was, and you can look this guy, a gentleman called Rick Simpson. Now he makes his own CBD oil, and I believe he does. You can get Rick Simpson oil, but I don't believe he actually sells it. It's more of a way of doing it, and it's an oil made by washing cannabis buds with a solvent, and then it's supposed to have the massive reap benefits of a cancer beater. And there's a lot of people out there who've taken it and they swear by it, and this is something that you should look up and research, but it's very interesting. That's where I first heard about Rick Simpson and CBD oil, and the real cannabis, the cannabis oil and the cannabis healing oil, which is very, very expensive to get, and obviously it is illegal because the THC is very high, and that's the illegal part. That is where I first started hearing about cannabis oil, and then you can get resin oil, and obviously you smoke it for a high. Mainly that was the main thing, and I think that for me that's where it started to boom. And I think as soon as you put that word cancer in there and cancer beater, You're now looking at a massive market because, as you know, now I'd say we're in probably a fucking epidemic of cancer more than anything else because it's so. What is it like? 1 in 2 now are going to die of it.
You live long enough.
You know, so with men now we're very high with prostate cancer is on a massive high. With women, it's always been breast cancer, and then we've got obviously the more severes, and it's just a nasty thing, but. That's why I first heard about CBD oils was to go from that, and then I think then it's obviously breached in, and then obviously see marketers, and then people get the CBD and they go right. If we take the CBD, and we've now got a legal product, let's push it out. Let's see if it's pushing it out, saying it's got the same benefits, but it has not because the THC is such an important ingredient when it comes down to the CBD.
Well, in terms of the cannabis plant, the CBD is the second most active element in it. So the main thing you get is THC, so you're removing the main component of what makes up the cannabis plant. But I think the problem is, like, from the research we've done, and is there's not enough research, and that's the thing. There's quite a large pool of research to do with cannabis, including THC, but because CBD is such kind of it's not new because it's been around, but the extraction of it is quite a new product. There's not massive amounts of data to show or evidence to show. The only kind of thing that's been correlated with CBD is, I was reading it was the reduction of seizures in some studies. So kind of kids with large or with seizures or quite bad seizures. I can't remember what it was. It basically it kind of helped reduce them, or in some cases was able to stop them altogether. So that's kind of the only thing that it's been linked to, pure CBD. Whereas, as we know, for many years, the cannabis plant itself has been used for medicine in a mixed reviews, mixed kind of opinions on the benefit it has and the benefit it doesn't have. And that the same goes into sport. So it's kind of, as of recently, CBD's been legalized by pretty much most of the governing bodies. I think all of the governing bodies of sport.
Yeah, it's good at governing sports, and this is where we're going to touch on the 100-meter female American runner who's just been banned from the Tokyo Olympics.
Shikari Richards. If you don't know about her, she's probably not. She's young and she's up and coming, but she's the 6th fastest woman in history with her personal best.
But she got banned from the Tokyo Olympics because she failed a test of marijuana.
Yeah.
And this is where we feel like it's very hypocritical. I think anyway now to be pushing CBD in sports and then to get banned for having
basically CBD with a little extra pizzazz, which is kind of what it is,
it's
right?
Basically what it is, and that's what CBD is trying to do. If you leave the THC, you get more out of it than it is. But it's a touchy subject because obviously I do believe if there is a banned substance in the sport, you should follow the rule book, and that's that case. So if it's banned, you shouldn't be doing it. So that case there is, she's banned, and that's the purpose.
Yeah, she's put her hand up. She knew what she did.
But on the other hand, I'm like, well, does it make her perform more because it relaxes her? Isn't that the case of sport? Isn't that why people go and the biggest case of not only being the best of your physical ability, but also the mindset is to control that anxiety in the sport and keep yourself nice and calm and produce the best on the day. So it's like...
Yeah, you put it perfectly. It's like saying that all the importance comes from CBD and then banning the product that has CBD in it, which apparently THC. So, it's a very hypocritical view saying, you can take the good part of it, but you can't take the good part of it with just how it's naturally created. So it's a very, very interesting because she got a 30-day suspension, and reading through so she got banned by the US Anti-Doping Agency, rather than WADA, which is like the World Anti-Doping Association, which predominantly are the ones that have done the banning of countries like Russia from the Olympic Games. That's something different to go into. They're still competing, but hey, that's not going to go into that yet.
I still found it weird. I was looking on the Olympics the other day. What they called now? The Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically, but then they're like third in the medal tables.
But then there's another case. Did you see the gymnast? The Russian gymnast. He tore his ACL.
What?
And he's competing 3 months later. But that's on the next podcast.
Some growth hormone.
We're going to be going through. That's where this one's leading to. So what we're going to follow this one up is obviously the performance enhancing stuff that is banned on, which is a good subject. Basically. But coming back to the cannabis oil, it's like.
But yeah, so basically, like what WADA has set the ruling from the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, it sees prohibited substance and they need to meet 2 out of 3 categories. Okay. So category 1 or criteria 1 is they harm the health of the athlete. Criteria 2 is they are a performance enhancer, and criteria 3 are they're against the spirit of the sport. Okay, so if a drug meets 2 out of the 3, then it's going to be a banned substance in the eyes of WADA. So basically, in 2011, they defended the ban on cannabis in a paper published in the Journal of Sports Medicine, citing a study on marijuana's ability to reduce anxiety. WADA found cannabis could help athletes better perform under pressure and alleviate stress experienced before and during competition. I know this comment was made back in 2011, which is 10 years ago. However, to still have it banned, but then to allow something like CBD oil, which they say the idea is to reduce anxiety, to help people with stress, to help sleep, and then to help inflammation, is very hypocritical, saying, yeah, you can perform better under cannabis by the reduction of or alleviation of stress. However, CBD does the exact same thing. So why are they both banned? So you've kind of banned, the best. I know they can't overturn it because it is in the rule book for now, and it needs to definitely be changed. But you've made CBD legal, yet you've banned the best sprinter in the world for taking CBD. In a basic sense.
Nutshell. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So that's where, now in sports they've created a very, very grey line by allowing CBD in. Because there is a lot more studies to do with the whole cannabis plant and THC, and as we've said, it's been used in medicinal effects dating back to like 2000 BC with China, but then even now in terms of, as I said like earlier, like they still use it for people with cancer and reduction of pain or chronic pain, as well as it's to do with the receptors and how cannabis or the THC affects the receptors, and the CBD as well in terms of growth of like cancer cells. But so we're now in a very unique point in especially in sports, that you're allowing people to take CBD, which has kind of not got the biggest pool of knowledge around, yet you're banning people for the same thing. In an extent. Yeah. In a extent. So, like, yes, she's missed out on the Olympics. She didn't get chosen. She was bound to be a medal winner potentially, like gold medal winner. She's, as I said, 6th fastest woman in history, and she's not been robbed because she said she knows what she did at the time. Yeah. But you can kind of see like there needs to be definitely a reform or more of a governing body around CBD, and it's like actually just doing more data on it, more science, more pools of thoughts of actually being like, okay, what is the difference between CBD and between the cannabis plant in itself? Yeah. How much difference have you taken away or added? If you allow one, why don't you allow the other? It's so, and especially now, like countries across the world, then you get into a different point. Okay, it's banned in the United Kingdom, it's banned in places like France, but then like Uruguay is legal. Canada is decriminal or legal and decriminalized, or legalized actually completely. A lot of federal states in America are starting to make it legal. Yeah. Then you've got countries that have decriminalized it altogether, like South Africa, Australia, Spain.
Some points of Spain now. It's
Yeah,
legal.
like Barcelona, you can go into shops.
Go
and
to a cannabis cafe.
like everyone knows Amsterdam in like
It's been the
Netherlands.
longest,
Is,
yeah. So you can see that the reach it's slowly becoming illegalised. So that's what I think you just got to look at. I think you got to really look at it like, is it really going to make you? It's not like if we look at performance enhancing drugs like steroids. It's not going to make you perform like that, is it? God, if it's just making your mindset a bit clearer, that's I wouldn't say that's a performance enhancer.
Why? Yeah, if you.
I suppose it is a performance, but it's not like.
Well, if you've ever been to Amsterdam, which I know a hell of a lot of people have done, and like you walk around, I don't think you see the pinnacle of athletes in Amsterdam when they're high. Like, that's not kind of. I think it's heavily. Sorry.
That's definitely going to be one of the side effects, isn't it? I think one of the biggest side effects out of it could be that it will slow you down.
It will slow you down and make you eat a shitload of not good food. So, but I think it's an interesting point because at the moment we're in. I feel it's very political, personally, from what we've looked at, from what we've read. We've tried to look at a lot of studies, and and there's nothing really scientifically down. Not like when we was talking about creatine, like the years and extensive research on that now, and the studies they've done with groups of people, young, old, ill, whatever. Then you'll get more of a head around on it. So at the moment, I'm still going to be on the fence with it. I'm not going to go, oh, don't take it. It's a waste of money. It's a complete factor. It's down to you. If you feel like you need it, and you are struggling with things like anxiety, I'd say definitely take that before going to the GP, where they're probably going to slam you on some sort of prescription drug that we know doesn't have a long-term effect of getting you out. It just keeps you in. Yeah, and that's the thing, is band-aiding a problem with something else. And as you said, that perfectly, creatine is naturally made within the body through fuel sources from outside externally, and then kind of synthesized within the body, and you can get it from supplementation, which is great. But CBD is not found naturally. It's found naturally in plants, but it's not in the body. So it's kind of, you're adding in something extra, something external, and it just doesn't have the sheer data behind it on its own in a CBD sense. Mm-hmm. Whereas the THC part of it, which if you actually look at your CBD bottle, if you have it, it does have a level of THC. It's like under 0.3%.
And I think that's where the legal action is. If it's under 0.3, then it will be legal. As soon as it starts to go over that, then you'll find it becomes illegal. And then that's when they test, it's the THC that they find in it to ban you. In sports, obviously.
So going into kind of the THC side of it, it's from some of the studies, it's THC in itself is shown to protect the brain from various neurological issues, improving symptoms of like neurodegeneration, MS, PDHD,
epilepsy.
So it's actually it's not a cure. This basically says protect. What this study that I was reading said, protect the brain, which is completely different wording from curing. And that's the thing where we say go back to the CBD, and it's almost people have got in trouble for putting on the wrong labeling of saying it will cure this. No, it might protect, but it's not going to cure anything, or not that we know 100% now. So but then also in terms of going into, as we were speaking about there was something to do with the UFC I was going to talk about here.
What, it's legalised?
So basically, the good thing about CBD, in a sense, is there's no side effects, and that's what I was going to say. So that's why I think they love CBD quite a lot in sports, because it doesn't have the side effects as the THC brings, where you get high, you get hungry, you get a little bit slow. Actually, removing that, you remove any of the side effects. So that's why they believe it's more in the spirit of like sports. However, look at other sports in complete relation to this, for example, the UFC. So they, back in July of this year, they published changes to the anti-doping policy to basically say you can smoke cannabis and fight in the UFC.
So we know that, was it Nick Diaz used to get caught out smoking?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Yeah, so this is where I was going to go. So basically saying that someone popped for THC in a drugs test. The UFC, like vice president of athlete health and performance, basically they were doing studies, and he said THC is fat soluble, meaning that once ingested it is stored in fatty tissues and organs in the body and can be released back into circulation and consequently appear in the urine sometimes long after ingestion. It is therefore not an ideal marker in athletes to indicate in competition impairment. So from what they found is that THC is fat soluble, it sits within the fat, and it can still be in circulation a long time after it actually ingesting. So for a fighter, you go into a 6-week camp. Say you smoke cannabis, 3 weeks before that, you go into your camp, you come and get tested during your camp. And I doubt you're going to be smoking cannabis at unless you're Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
Because it's going to slow you down and it's going to...
Or Mike Perry.
Fuck. Or it might not help. I don't know. It might now, but before, take before when it was banned, then you'd get popped for drugs, and this is where we go to the politics again as well, because back in when was it? It was like 2012, I believe. So 2 fighters on the same card failed drug test. One was Nick Diaz. And one was Anderson Silva. So Nick Diaz got popped for cannabis. He's smoking cannabis. He's a long-term cannabis smoker. Everyone knows it. He's pulled out joints at the press conference, and even in his training. Now it's legal. He pulled one out on his exhibition, and then Anderson Silva, another fighter, got done for anabolic steroids. So Anderson Silva got a 1-year ban, and Nick Diaz got a 5-year ban.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So that just shows the huge disparity. So as we were saying, anabolic steroids have a huge impact on sports performance.
Massive.
Cannabis?
Not so much.
Not really. Not the profound effects you're going to see.
Calm you down so you perform better because you're not so uptight and so that's the only thing I can see with it, and that's where I think it's just a big hypocritical.
Well, it's where politics is interfering with logic in a sense of actually this thing shows significant improvements in anabolic steroids, but we're gonna give you a 1-year ban. Cannabis that's not actually massively proven to improve any sport, improve any inflammation, and the only effects it's been kind of loosely proven are the protection of the brain through neurological degeneration. How's that going to help you fight? But hey, give him a 5-year ban.
Yeah.
So it's
that's where that's all political as well.
Yeah.
We know that. But then Nick Diaz was the bad boy and against the rule book, and he's his own sort of person, and Anderson Silva was the champ, so the safeguarding the champ, and it gets twisted all, like that. But the point that we're proving is that, there's no real, you can't be pushing now in the world CBD products and trying to sell it to all the people, all the benefit, and then still say, "Oh, that's banned. That's not good for you."
Yeah, because it derives from the same place.
And that's a better version, really.
Yeah. As I said, THC is proven, or it's got more data behind it. It's proven that it's got more benefits than not, and I think it's a very interesting point that these governing bodies have put themselves into. It's almost a sticky position.
Yeah.
But then into the sports market, it doesn't see like that, because something like cannabis has had such a bad rap for so many years is actually now becoming more prominent, because people are like, well, you've taken away the high, and now everyone's like, well, CBD is perfectly fine because you don't get high from it. Actually, it just derives from the same place.
Same place.
So kind of what's really the difference from it? Nothing. It's like almost like 0% alcohol.
Exactly, yeah. Or decaf coffee.
Decaf coffee. There's still an element of alcohol. If you look at the back of bottles, there's still a very small element of alcohol, and same with decaf. Still an element of the caffeine, but you take away the main component of it that makes it up.
So like, and that's exactly how it is. It's like, you have your cup of coffee and then you have your cup of decaf. So decaf being the CBD,
yeah,
and your normal cup of coffee being, the normal THC sort of like weed impact. So I'd say before you get into this, I hope this helps you out and understand a little bit more about it. And like I say, if you're ever going to put something in your body, research it. Okay, I think a lot of people just get jumped on influencers and advert and just, push that click and buy button. Where if you're going to put something into your body, now remember, your body should be your temple. Research it. And don't just research one thing. Like, there's loads of, you've got the medical news, you've got loads of things medically that you can look at and start to pinpoint your own sort of point on it and go, okay, actually, I'm going to give this a go. I think this might help out. Or you can go, yeah, that's £100 waste of my money. I'm going to save that £100 and put that into maybe a blackout blind to get better sleep or something like that. Like I say, for the anxiety habits, there's the just training, just getting into a better lifestyle of eating can probably help that. But we know it's a touchy subject because it rolls into mental health. So maybe that's the only place I'd say, if you have got big anxiety, then I'd say, all go for it, try it. If it helps your anxiety, fantastic. If it doesn't, it's a waste of money. So
I think the main thing is like look at anything's kind of uprising in a sense. It's take the information from what you've learnt rather than taking information from like what someone on Instagram's selling you. Anything that says a discount code, like, it's just bullshit.
Don't get caught on an influencer, because most of the time normally they've been given a product because they've got a big following anyway, so then they'll just
trying
to sell something that they've only just recently been taken, and it's just money. So you've got to be careful of that. It's obviously it's easy money for most people to do. So if you follow your favourite influencer and they're going, I take CBD, they're told to do that. They're getting paid to do that. They're not really going to say, I've taken this product, and someone's giving you 500 quid a month to take it. You're going to take the 500 quid, aren't you? You're not going to go, no, I'm going to be true to my followers. I'm not taking this product.
That's what I said. Like, there's no governing body. Whereas, if for certain supplementation, if you're looking for really clean supplementation, there is a list that you can go off. For example, I think the main company in the United Kingdom is Informed Sports. They're a company or a governing body that rigorously tests supplementation for banned substances. So anything on that list, you can look them up. Informed Sport. Anything on that list, you're okay to take.
Yeah, and that's it. And if you are in a competitive sport, go through that list. And if it says it's banned, then that's that. You just don't go near it. Simple as that. And you be careful of the products you're taking, because we do know that some products can be, have stuff in there that's you wouldn't know about.
We've heard them 1,000 times. The people be, I did like the good thing about Richardson. She basically said, I did it. Like, I was having a hard time and needed something to relax. Like, I think her mum had passed away, and she got a reason. She was open about it. She held her hands up. So you don't want to be stuck in the situation. It's like, I took this dodgy protein off some guy I bought out of an unmarked carrier bag, and it was in there. The Tranabol was in that.
All we can say is, I ate some meat and it was layered with whatever. Or the most silliest one I heard was, I had sex with my partner and got it through that.
Oh, like kissing, because
this is where we're going with the next episode. So the next episode, we're really going to touch on performance enhancing drugs. Yes, we're going to talk about the big S word, steroids. We're going to talk and try and let people be a little bit more educated on it, because it's something that I find, as soon as it's mentioned, it's like, it's bad. It's got such a bad repertoire around it. Yes, it's banned because it does the fucking job. But it makes you perform better. So
that's the same. It's a lot of just kind of stigmas built upon years of what you've been told. So now, like, CBD is so big, but if you had said 10 years ago, oh yeah, like we're going to legalize cannabis for all sports users, everyone would be like, what the fuck? Like, you're crazy. All these kids are going to start smoking cannabis because they're looking at this athlete. They're going to then turn into heroin because it's a gateway drug. Like this is a bit off it, but as I said, like with the UFC and the 5-year ban for cannabis and 1-year ban for steroids, it's politics. Like, there's clearly now countries are coming to a little bit of sense in terms of decriminalizing things and legalizing things. Because if you look back further enough, so the war on drugs has been around for kind of almost 100 years now. It's built upon lies and racism. Like, if you've not read into it enough, and I'm not going into like, oh yeah, we should be selling heroin on the street, but for example, now it's clearly showing that cannabis doesn't have an effect on performance enhancer. It's not a massive degeneration drug that's going to cause people into a massive spiral. Like, if high-end sports performers, they're comfortable for them to take and they can perform at the highest level in their domain, then yes, definitely needs to be re-looked at, because the politics of, oh yeah, cannabis is bad, but then CBD oil is perfectly fine is very, it's a very foggy kind of field. But yeah, like, that's just something different. We could talk about a whole thing outside of sports performance about why drugs aren't actually as bad as it's made out.
As they are, that's all that. So it's like with anything, if something's banned in the sport, they'll take it. If you're taking it, then hey, you get popped, you're gonna get the ban. So
I think the good thing is reform is coming in those senses, and it's clearly becoming a little bit more stringent, banning whole countries because they've got doping programs, and these are things that are creating unfair advantages in the field which need to be banned, whereas some things don't create unfair advantages and it's more a choice. So you wouldn't start banning the Olympic athletes for drinking alcohol, would you?
No.
Whereas alcohol is proven it's got a lot more health implications.
Look at the outcome of it, the addiction of it, the deaths of it, the silly outcomes of it, shall we say. We can see the most probably domestic cases come from
well,
drinking.
You worked in a bar or a club for long enough, you knew that alcohol causes more problems than anything.
I tell you what, one thing I did see when I worked on the door, alcohol and a full moon.
It's like werewolves coming out.
And don't say I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, when we had a full moon, something happened with people when they drink.
Girls or guys? Both.
But mainly, to be fair, mainly women.
Something to do with the moon and the sun.
It's the moon and something to do with the water in the body. Getting into it, look it up. I'm telling you, that's why there's always a stigma around a full moon and the crazy people come out, because I'm telling you, it does affect with the human anatomy massively. But hey,
it comes from somewhere.
But no, definitely, 100%. I've got evidence on that.
But so I think the main takeaways from today is it's changing. It is changing. CBD has become very, very prevalent. Like
very popular, very influential on social media now.
Yeah, every other kind of athlete seems to be selling CBD oil, which kind of, in my skeptic way makes me think, okay, you're not getting people selling you good sleep patterns and like quality hydration. Like, it's more just like,
so basically start with all the free stuff that you can do straight away, and if you find if you're new to our series and you're like, well, I have no idea, look back through our catalogue. We've got everything there, from nutrition to sleep to habits to routines to hydration. All these things can help you implement a much healthier lifestyle, a much better performance in your gym or in your sport, that what you're doing, and start there. And then when that starts rolling out well, then you can look to top up with your A game of supplements. Whether you do want to try CBD, if you do have high anxiety, like I say, I'm not going to say don't take this product. It is a case of you trying it out. Everyone is different.
But understand the data behind it is, there needs more. There needs more in time.
Yeah, it's very minimal at the moment, and the product price, obviously they try and say the better the product, obviously the more money you're going to be spending. And it can be very cost effective for very minimal effect of your life. So that's all I'm just trying to say. There's a lot of people I know who are like, yeah, let me know how it goes, Tris. Like I say, with the rub that I took, I would never buy that. The oil, I used it. I found my sleeping is fairly good unless my kids get me up. I took it on nights for a duration of weeks, and then I took it for a week without, and then I went back on it. Did I see a difference? I'm not going to say I did, really. It didn't make me sleep any better. I still felt like I was sleeping the same. It tasted disgusting. That's one thing I can say out of it. So, but again, it's down to you to trial and error.
Yeah, do your own.
And do your research on it. Have a look. One thing you say, once you're putting anything in your body, research it. Anything you're getting from your doctors, research it. You know, everything has its effect on every different person. So, wrap that up, I think.
Yeah.
Like I say, the next episode, this is a perfect way to roll into. We're going to go into performance-enhancing drugs in most sports. Why is it banned? What's it do? The different sort of performance, and there's many different. There's ones to make you big and strong. There's ones to make you faster. There's ones to make you know.
Things to make your dick hard. Things to make your dick soft.
You know, there's lots of things out there, and there's reasons why it's banned, and there's reasons why there are health applications put to it, what it can do. So
but then the different approaches from all the governing bodies in terms of it.
If you like this episode and you feel we've got a lot of information, push that like button, push the subscribe for future shows coming out.
If you do get some CBD and try it, let us know.
Yeah, and if you do, let us know how you get on. I already know a couple of people, they do like taking it. Hey, I'm not going to tell them not to, but then there's a couple of people asking me, well, yeah, I'll wait to see your outcome. So I hope this helps you out. If in doubt, try it. But most of the time, I think, to be fair, it's a lot of money for very little outcome on what it will actually do. And then, like you say, if you look at really what we've looked at,
the benefits come from the THC.
Probably having a good joint is probably going to be a little bit more beneficial. Apart from the tobacco in it, obviously.
You'd have to go to Amsterdam for that.
Yeah. So, going to wrap that up.
For now.
Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure to tune in to the next one. It's going to be very interesting. Peace out.